Hello friends, my name is Hamid. Today I have this motor and blower assembly for Samsung dryer. We will replace it and show you how it's being done. The reason we are replacing this motor and blower assembly is because the dryer makes humming noise. When we try to start it, it does not start. I'm gonna hold my mic at the back of the machine, or what I can do is I will actually put it inside of the dryer so you can hear the humming noise and it's not gonna run. You hear that noise because the motor windings are weak, the motor is defective, it's not working the way it's supposed to. In a case like this, I always tell my customers that I'm going to order the part for you. In the meantime, you can run your dryer. If your dryer is making humming noise, this is the only trick I teach my customers while the part is on order. So they will put a piece of tape here to hold it in place. You need a piece of tape just like that and tape it. The door switch could be anywhere, and you can do this trick in all brands, all models. It doesn't matter if it's Samsung, LG, Kenmore, Frigidaire, Whirlpool, anything. You can do the same thing, but you just have to find your switch. When you press your switch in with a piece of tape, you turn on the dryer. When your dryer starts to turn, of course it's not going to turn, it's going to make that humming noise, and you will see it makes humming noise. And then just give it a little bit of help. You put your hand inside, and here you go. In the meantime, the customer can use the dryer, but the proper way to fix this issue is to replace the motor assembly. You can buy this part from power suppliers, brand new. It's going to cost you $200 to $350. It depends where you're getting it from. Or you can buy it used for starting from $40 up to $80 and then replace it yourself. So today my video will show you how to replace it. If you need this motor, you can go on appliances shops and use appliances shops. I'm sure they have lots of these in stock because they do part outs. And you can take the picture of your motor, take it to them, and they will give you another motor, bring it in and install it. That will save you a lot of time and money. I'm working here with my partner Sukdeep, and we are going to do this together. The first thing you want to do is you have to find a spot where there is a little small clip that you have to press in with a flat screwdriver or a pry bar and lift it up from there. You see this? You can play around, and then there's a couple of screws in the front. The front panel comes out. Once you take the front panel out, you can open these clips, so that way it will give you an extra space. The way he disconnected it, so he disconnected that wire from the door switch right here. It's right here. And lift it up, and I'm holding the stop panel for him. If you're only one person, you can always lean it like this and maybe leave something at the back of it so it would hold it in place. You will disconnect your moisture sensor wire first. And second part is this. Do not forget to take off one screw from here, and then after that you can lift it up and pull it out. So you put one of your feet in there to hold it. When you take this panel off, you want to check your roller wheels. Play around with it, make sure it's not seized. If it's seized, you may want to add some lubrication. You may want to do some cleanup here too. Vacuum it if you want, and also spin it. It's good. It spins freely. There's no damage. The next part is you're going to take the belt off. What we are doing here is to show you how the belt is being uninstalled here. We are going to open the back. It's only one screw here. We are going to open it so we will show you how the belt is being taken off. This is how you take the belt off. You remove the belt, and here you go, release it. That's all. The belt comes off like this, and you can reinstall it back like this. See, this is how you install the belt, and he will also remove it again. So here you go, simple and easy. You can use one hand. If you're a homeowner, you have to use two hands from both sides. One of your hand goes from the right hand side, one of your hand goes from left hand side. You can take the belt off, but Sukdeep is using his left hand side from the left side, so that way he removes the belt. Once you remove the belt, you can lift this side up, and then the whole drum comes out. Please check your belt for cracks on it. If there is any kind of damage or crack, you would replace your belt too. But the belt looks in really good shape. From thousands of dryers, I've only seen one or two belts breaking, because Samsung makes one of the best belts. They don't break a lot unless you have problem with idler pulley. This is how inside of the dryer looks. The blower motor assembly is right here. The two roller wheels are here and there. You want to spin it with your hand. Spin the same thing here. Looks good. And this is your heater. Since you open your dryer apart before you replace your motor, you may want to do a really good vacuuming here. You can vacuum it. You can vacuum your dryer, but we are not going to vacuum it right now because we have to pull the old motor out first. When you get your blower assembly that comes with thermal fuse and safety thermostat, you have to disconnect the wires like this. You may want to add a long extension. It's a Phillips screwdriver. You're gonna disconnect your electrical wires first. There's also one screw that holds this switch in place. See, there's that. This is your motor or belt safety switch. You wanna just remove that screw. Please do not lose it. It's a tiny 10 screw. And then wiggle it back and forth, it comes out. We removed two screws so far, and then there's a couple of screws there at the back. Right. You see those two screws? We're going to remove those. In total, four screws from the motor that holds it in place. And once you remove all your screws out, what you can do is you can actually wiggle your motor back and forth, and then it lifts up. So the motor slides. You see these notches on the motor? It actually slits inside of those two holes, and then there's also the screws, the opening for the screws right there in those places. You can leave both of your blowers motors beside each other and look at the idler pulley. The idler pulley on this one looks a little bit old. See, old and rusty. It has some discoloration or a heating issue. And on this one, it looks like it has a brand new. We're going to remove the blower wheel idler pulley. Sorry, we're going to remove the idler pulley from this one, and we will install the new one into this. If you look at the center of the idler pulley, this looks like a cheap aftermarket part, and versus this one, the new one that's installed on this unit has a ball bearing, and it runs really smoothly. This one seems okay, but I wouldn't use this because first of all, it's old. Second, it's also aftermarket part, so it's better to go with the original OEM part. There's one screw that holds it in place and a spring. You take it off, and of course that little spring, and then you can do the same thing here. And also you want to play around with the idler pulley back and forth. Touch it. Yeah, so go back and forth. See, you want to make sure it's loose, and you want to make sure it doesn't have a play up and down, like back and forth. So it seems okay. And now we can add your spring back. You see that little small hole? That little small hole, a spring goes in there. Dryer looks good and clean. We can install our new motor. At the back of the motor, there is two steel tabs that they get inserted here and then gets pushed in. We are using this long extension because to make videos while we are using this extension, we can clearly see everything what's happening here. Do not forget to add your thermal fuses and your safety thermostats wires back together. Do not over tight the screws. So if you over tight the screws, it's gonna strip the bracket that holds it in place, and then the motor will stay loose, and it will make a lot of vibration noise over time. If you have an extra screw, I would recommend adding an extra screw just to be on the safe side, because we got a space for two more screws here. If you add extra screws, you're not gonna have any vibration on the motor. And just in case, if you strut one of the screws and you have three screws on each side, your motors are still gonna stay in place and you will never have any problem. Again, please take pictures always when you're working on stuff like this. That way you know where and which wire goes where. Because sometimes these tiny screws are a little bit different, and if you force it, that's gonna break the switch, and it's not good. You do not want it. You do not want a wrong screw. And double check your idler pulley when you're installing the screw on the motor, because you see the bottom of the pulley hits that switch. Sukdeep, can you play with that idler pulley? You see each time it goes up and down, it hits that switch. You want to hear that clicking noise from the switch. Here you see this from the old motor, the way this blower assembly front area is. I will show you on the new one. You see this one, the shape in this one is different, on that one it's different. So what you can do is you have to remove the screws from this and return this to that one, and then this one goes right here. Otherwise your front panel will not go in there. And remember the position of this, it says Orca. The O and R comes straight to the top part. You do not want to flip it and uninstall it. So just remember that. Another part here, you see this opening right here? It gets inserted right here. It has a little small notch in there. You insert it like that and then push it back and add your screws back in. Little small nipples. This part gets installed into the nipple. So remember this. That way it will stay in perfect position. I will hold it. If there's two people working on this, it's more easier, but you do not need another person. You can do everything alone on this dryer. When you install this, after that, put your hand inside and turn it. Turn the blower. Make sure it's not making any kind of a scratching noise, a screeching noise. Seems okay now. Once you know that the blower motor is installed properly, before you close the dryer back in, double check your wires. Sometimes while you're working on it, this gets bented and you don't want it. So make sure the electrical wires are good here. Double check this. Double check your heater wires. And of course, double check these to make sure they're installed properly. Double check your main wire that goes to the motor. Everything seems okay. You can even double check your wires here, the hose here, roller wheels. If it needs a little bit of cleanup, do it. Otherwise, everything seems okay. Now you can add your drum. When installing your drum, it does not matter which way it goes. If you had this on the back side and you're installing it on the front side, it doesn't matter. The build may make a little bit difference from here to here, but that's not an issue. See, You can even turn it like this. And I will also tell you something else here. It's not necessary, but I'll mention it to you. If your drum is making noise and you pull this out, pull the drum out, nothing is wrong here. You see these three baffles, this one, and this one. Sometimes you get coins getting there. A quarter inch or a penny or something gets inside there and it makes a lot of noise. So if you have the drum out, I would say hold it in your hand and shake it. Shake it back and forth, no noise, you're good. If you have noise, then what you can do is you open all these four screws, Phillips screws. The baffle falls down, whatever the garbage and debris is inside, including the coins or anything that's getting stuck in there. You clean it and then you reinstall your baffle back in. You just insert it inside and you make sure you line up the back with the on top of the roller wheels. Here, I'll pull this out so you can see how the roller wheels is looking. You see the roller wheels? You may want to lift it up a little bit and then pull it down. And then after that, you install your belt. Your belt goes only in this position. You see, you want to install it like this. You do not want to install it like that. So kind of hold it like this and then install it. So the reason Sukdeep is going back and forth with the belt, he's kind of pulling it out, is because he want to make sure there's no bends on the belt, because sometimes the belt can be turned around like this from the bottom. By doing this, you can make it straight. So that way, when you install your idler pulley with the belt, or when you install your belt on the idler pulley and motor, it will not smack back and come off. So while you're installing your belt, you see the drum kind of stays a little bit open. It's okay. It's not a big deal. You can do this. That's not an issue. So Sukdeep is gonna install the belt with two hands, and he's also gonna install the belt with one hand. So that way, we will give you an idea of how it's being done with two hands and one hand. Sukdeep is holding the belt with his two hands. You see. He is pushing the idler pulley with one hand and he's installing the belt with another hand. You see how simple and easy it is? That's all. The belt is installed. And now he's gonna use one hand to install the belt. You see that? You have to have a lot of experience to do this, but you can try playing around if you have enough time. The belt is installed, and turn the drum slowly in this position, the way Sukdeep is turning it. That way, if your belt is not installed properly, it will come off. You're gonna hear a clank noise. The idler pulley would come off from the belt, and then you have to reinstall your belt back again. If you don't do this and you install all your dryer back together, what's gonna happen is you turn on your dryer, the belt is gonna come off, and then you have to open everything back apart, do this thing again and again until you get it right. So by just turning it a little bit with your hand, it lines up the belt into the drum properly, and also the motor and idler pulley would also intact in place. You can also clean inside of the filter area if you want. If you got lots of garbage and debris build up, since the dryer is open apart, you got a good chance to clean it. The front lip of the drum on the roller wheels is that you have to kind of make sure you don't catch these wires in there. Put them in the front and then line it up like this. While you're lining it up, you see the way it goes here. You see there's a little bit of notch in here that gets inserted right there. You see that goes there, and then you want to do the same thing on other side, which is done. And then after that, you can use two hands to turn the drum. By turning the drum, it does two things. It lines up the drum into the front of this panel, and also it aligns the bottom roller wheels, because there's one roller wheel here, one roller wheel here, and it also aligns the roller wheel to the drum. See the way you're turning it. The belt is installed properly because it didn't come off. We did not hear a clank noise, and the front is also installed properly. The next part you want to do is reconnect your moisture sensor wire, and then there's only one screw that goes in there that holds the blower cover in place. It's a Phillips, and now you can add your 4 screws. We will put the filter back in place. Flushed. If you see your filter not being flush here, that means that you need to do a lot of cleanup here. So you may want to stick a hose or something with a vacuum and clean it really good, and then you would be able to insert this filter back in. If you do not, if you see that this filter is staying a little bit open like this, remember there's always problem. Maybe your filter is bent, or something is wrong with the dryer filter, or you got some garbage build up there. Most likely it's going to be garbage and debris lint build up there. By opening this cover, it's held by a couple of screws, you can clean it really good too. When you install the front panel, if you remember this and that side, also the center, it has brackets that the front panel has some opening that sits on top of the bracket. It's usually at the bottom in this area right here. Can you lift it up, please? You see these holes, 1, 2, 3. All of these 3 holes lines up with these. If you don't line it up properly, you will have problem. The front panel will not go in place properly. You may want to play around back and forth, and then after that you can install it back in. Before you install your door switch, I will show you how the door switch is. If you see the wire connector is not going properly there, you may want to turn it, flip it, and then install it, but it's good now. When you're installing the door switch wire, please do not force it a lot from there. So you see the way Sudeep is using his hand over there. So if you force it, the switch will break and come off, and then you will need a new switch. The next part you want to do is you add your wires in place. Remember, you can only add your wires in place properly if this top part is out closer to the front. If it's far to the back, then you will not be able to install these wires properly. See, because you have a tension here. So bring it a little bit far. When you install your front panel, you want to make sure like these little small clips, they kind of match up here. The alignment here on both sides, you want to make sure you align it. It's not that important if you can add your screws. Sometimes you are not able to install this part properly. It's not a big deal. But just remember to add your 3 screws, 1, 2, and 3 screws. You see the way this one looks? This bracket looks. If this part doesn't come in place properly, you can always use a flat screwdriver to bring it up a little bit. Looks good. Thank you. And now I will hold this for him. This is the light switch wire. Do not forget to plug this back in. And now you can add your wires back in. Your wires are looking fine here, and now it's the time to close your top panel. The way you close your top panel, as you see this opening right here, and the same thing right here. It gets closed on top of this. You may want to push it a little bit. When you do that, you might as well open your door and then close it. So when you close it back in, line it up from both sides. You also want to make sure that this little small black nipples are lining up with the hole in there. There's a hole. By sitting in the front of the dryer, playing around with it, you line up this nipple and then push it down. Here, the dryer top panel is good, and you can also try to lift it up. It's good. The last thing you want to do is you add your 3 screws back in. One goes on the top, 2 at the bottom, and these are special looking screws with the skirt on. Can I see it? You see this screw, you do not want to mix it with the rest of the screws. These are especially made for the front panel of the Samsung dryer. Thank you. The dryer is done now. Plug it in. You want to start the dryer? Nah. Okay. Nice. Thank you. The last part we didn't show was this hose that goes at the back of the dryer. The way you install it is you have to put a flashlight inside of it, just like that. And then through the flashlight you can see you have to line it up into the blower. So the way you're installing it, when you insert it inside of that hole, you kind of go and install it like this. You can only do this by looking at it through inside, because you do not have any other space to look. So put a flashlight inside there and look through it, and then you can install it back in. And it gets installed in this position, so this will get screwed on into this into the side. Okay, I'm gonna stay far so deep can see from inside. It's Sukdeep's first day, so that's why it takes him a long time. Okay, so you see it looks nice here. It's aligned straight to the blower hole. And the good part is, from this blower, you can keep both of these parts and on your cupboard somewhere, because in future you may need to install them. You may need to use these. So if you buy these separately, each of these would cost you about $35–40. Maybe you can find it for $20, but they're expensive. You keep these two. Other than that, I wouldn't keep the rest. This blower wheel never breaks, so I've never seen them breaking. So if you want to keep the whole blower assembly, good for you. If not, you can just recycle it. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you guys have any question, please comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, share it with others. You can also follow us on Facebook. It's called Hamid Appliances Repair. And again, thank you for Sukdeep for helping me on this video. Thanks.